Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on the Space Couch today, going to be reviewing this, The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, the second in the Vampire Chronicles. I first got this in 1991, 1992, when I was at university. I've read it several times since, but it had been a while. And this is me continuing my journey through the Vampire Chronicles, and I assume the Mayfair Witches in due course. I had forgotten how this started, with him waking up in the 1980s, forming his band, which obviously was at Satan's Night Out, that becomes the Vampire Lestat, and all the videos and everything that he makes that's basically telling the entire story of vampire kind, which then it goes into depth with the narrative. So, 18th century nobleman in France. Some of the things really stood out at the time and still now. Going through the snow with his dogs, hunting the wolves in his red cloak. That always stuck in my mind, and still then it was just a great sequence how he manages to trap and kill them. And then his friendship with Nicolas de L'Enfant, their conversation and how they run away to Paris. And when he runs away before that to join the Commedia dell'arte to play Lelio in the old plays. I'd remembered that, but I thought that part was longer. It wasn't that long at all. And then we'll see when he's in Paris, he gets turned by Magnus into a vampire, and Magnus then throws himself into the fire. And it was fascinating going back through all that again. Like I said, it's been such a long time since I'd read it. I'd forgotten lots, and I'd remembered things differently. And obviously he turns his mother, who's dying of consumption basically, into a vampire, and he turns Nicholas ill-advisedly into a vampire, and he's just a complete nut job, though he's still very musically talented and everything. And how they come against the vampires of the cemetery led by Armand and everything, the ancient coven. And there was one scene that I thought was quite funny, where they're sleeping in a crypt in a church, him and Gabrielle, and then when it's time to wake up, there's a service going in, so it's like, right, we must be vampires now, let's put on a show. They burst up through the crypt into the church, and everyone's scattering, doing the whole fang thing and everything. I actually thought that part was quite funny. And of course, the downfall of the coven and the rise of the theatre of the vampires. And then they go off on their tour of Europe and other places, because Gabrielle wants to explore. And obviously we hear Armand's tale and how he was created by Marius, who Lestat eventually comes across in Egypt, I think it is. I think it's Egypt. And his story is fascinating as well. The Roman kidnapped and taken into the Celtic Druidic north to be turned into a tree vampire, basically, one of the elder gods that they have there. And how the vampires are all burning up. And it's because, of course, those who must be kept, Akash and Enkil, have been put out into the sun. Not that it affects them other than giving them a tan, but because it goes all the way down through the descendant line, the younger ones are burning up or being fried to a crisp. It was fascinating. And how Lestat is drawn to Akash, and she's kind of drawn to him as well. When they're on that Greek island where Marius is keeping them, and he plays the violin for the two of them. How basically it's completely shocking, certainly to Akash. She comes to life, she's got like completely shocked expression on her face, because like that music had never been heard, that instrument had never been heard, and obviously strings can really get emotions out of you. And obviously he has to go away then, and then it's basically he's in New Orleans, and it's the time with Louis and Claudia, but that isn't really covered very much, because we've seen that in Interview with the Vampire. And then when he goes back to Paris for basically Louis and Claudia's trial and Claudia's execution, I'd forgotten that Armand attacks him and leaves them very, very damaged and weak. But yes, it was very good. And I had forgotten the ending as well, where it's back into the 1980s with the concert that he's doing for the Vampire Lestat in San Francisco about to happen, and how Gabrielle and Louis both come back to him, because obviously the book, The Vampire Lestat, the records are playing everywhere, the videos are on MTV everywhere. They know the other vampires are going to be coming for him, because he's giving away all of their secrets that they're not supposed to tell anyone, especially not mortals. And he gets this flash from who he thinks it's Marius about danger. Yes, and just as he is about, and they get attacked at the concert and after the concert, and they've got to fight them all off. But various vampires, when they're about to attack them, they burst into flames suddenly, and that's how they escape. No prizes for guessing who that is, because Lestat is literally falling asleep in his crypt when he is taken by Akasha, and that is where it ends. And the Queen of the Damned will start, which I have started reading now. But yes, great book. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been great to read these again. I will be continuing my series rereading the Vampire Chronicles. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for a topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.